Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for coming. For those of you I haven't met, my name is John, and I'm the technology librarian here at Curtis. So when I was approached by Michelle, who was giving our presentation here today, about raising awareness on the issues of scams and the frequent requests we get for information on how to protect yourself and be aware of more of these scams, I thought it was a perfect partnership to work with CEI today to raise awareness and spread the word throughout the community. So we are very thankful to have you here today. If you have need of the facilities, you can step out and take your first left. Bathrooms are open and available for anyone who needs it. And lastly, we'll be going through our presentation and a few small discussion questions, and there'll be time for bigger questions at the end. So then now I'll hand it over to Michelle Given, who works with CEI.
Thank you, John. I appreciate the introduction. Good morning, everyone. We're going to start with a short video, and then we're going to move right into the presentation. And thank you for being here today. Okay, that's not coming up. Hi, I'm Michelle Given from CEI, and I'd like to welcome you to Scam Smarts, a special video series created to help older adults and their families spot scams, protect their money, and feel confident saying no to fraud.
And hello, I'm Jason Thomas, also with CEI. Every day, scammers are getting more sophisticated. Whether it's a fake phone call from your bank, a romantic message from someone who isn't who they claim to be, or an urgent email message pretending to be from the IRS, these criminals are counting on us to act fast and feel afraid.
But here's the good news. Knowledge is powerful. In this series, you'll hear real-life stories told by people like you. Seniors who were targeted, almost tricked, and sometimes have lost money. But each story ends with a lesson, a moment of realization, a step taken towards safety and strength.
We've created Scam Smarts to shine a light on these moments, because you are not alone, and you are not foolish. You are being targeted, and we want you to be ready.
Let's get started.
He found me online, said he was a widower too, said he understood the loneliness. Every morning I'd get a message from him, sweet words, gentle check-ins. It felt nice. I hadn't felt seen in a long time since my husband passed. Then he said he needed help, just a little money to get back to the US from overseas. I wired it. Then he needed more. I wanted to believe it was real. I wanted to believe in love again. But my daughter found the messages. She showed me the truth. His photos were fake. His story didn't check out. He was playing a game. I was embarrassed. I felt foolish. But I wasn't alone. Thousands fall victim to these scams. And it's not love. It's fraud. Real love doesn't ask for secrecy or money. I reported him and moved on. Now, I help other women spot the warning signs. I was checking my email when a red warning popped up across the screen. Big letters, loud beeping. It said my computer was infected and my files were at risk. There was a number to call, so I did. The man on the other end sounded so professional. He said he was from Microsoft and needed access to fix the issue. I followed his steps. Before I knew it, he had full control of my computer. He told me to pay a repair fee. That's when my neighbor came over and saw what was really going on. I mailed a check like I've always done for my heating bill. I dropped it in the blue mailbox outside the grocery store. A few weeks later, the heating company called. No payment received. We checked my bank account. The check had been cashed, but not by them. The scammer had changed the name and the amount. The bank helped me recover the money, but now I'm much more careful. I walk inside the post office to mail checks or use online bill pay when I can. It's scary how ordinary routines can be turned against us, but knowing what to look out for makes all the difference. It was late. The phone rang. The voice on the other end said, "Grandma, I'm in trouble. Please don't tell Mom and Dad." I panicked. He said he had been arrested and needed bail money fast. I grabbed my wallet and was halfway out the door to wire the money when my real grandson called. From school. He was fine. I realized I had almost been tricked by someone pretending to be him. They preyed on my love. They counted on us reacting before thinking. Now, I always verify with another family member, and I remind my friends, slow down, ask questions, don't let fear make you act fast. My mom got a call from someone claiming to be from Medicare. They said they needed to verify her information. She gave them her Medicare card number. When she told me, I was furious, but also worried. I called the real Medicare hotline. They immediately flagged it and took steps to protect her benefits. Now, we report every suspicious call, and we've added call blocking apps to her phone. I remind her all the time, Medicare will never call you and ask for your real number. If it's real, they'll send a letter. If you're not sure, hang up and call back using the number on the card.
Thank you for taking the time to watch Scam Smarts. We hope these stories have helped you feel more informed, more aware, and more in control.
If you'd like to go deeper, join us for one of our upcoming Scam Smarts workshops, where we'll walk you through real examples, share preventative tips, and answer your questions in a safe, supportive space.
You can also download our free Scam Smarts toolkit, packed with tips, checklists, and reporting resources that you can keep or share with a loved one.
Visit our website to register for our workshop and download the toolkit today.
Let's outsmart the scammers together.
I want to thank you all for being here today. This has been something that has been on my mind for a long time because I work with a lot of seniors on a day-to-day basis, and I've sat and cried with some of them. Just yesterday, I got a horrible story where a woman's retirement savings was completely taken from her, and she's now beating herself up and crying on the phone with me. So I feel that these workshops are very important to all of us, and if it's not going to happen to you, it could happen to a loved one. So, welcome everyone. I'm glad you're here. Today's session, Scam Smarts Real Stories, is about learning how to stay a step ahead of the criminals by hearing real stories that happen to everyday people just like us. Not one of us. Raise your hand and if you've ever been targeted by a criminal that was trying to scam you. Okay. Every day, whether it's through email, telephone call, text alert. Most recent one was saying that your license was going to be revoked because you had an outstanding violation. Medicare all the time. So these tales of people aren't being careless. They're examples of how smart and good-hearted folks that get targeted are. And they believe the person that's on the phone. They're experts at creating fear, urgency, and even kindness to trick people. But once you know what to watch for, you can protect yourself and help someone else do the same. The imposter scam. This is an extremely common scam. It's where a scammer pretends that they're from the bank or a credit card company. I got an alert from Capital One yesterday, and because of all of that goes on, I went into Capital One account and opened it up. The scammers are counting on you to click the link that's in the email or in the text message saying, there's a problem with your account. They sound professional, they sound convincing, they use logos that look like that account, and they get you to click on the link that they've sent you in the text. A bank may call you and say that your account's been compromised. You've got to move your money. We're going to close out your current accounts, and we're going to move your money into another account. Happened yesterday to a woman I spoke to. She lost $48,000 because she trusted that this was the bank and that she was talking to the Federal Trade Commissioner. And she went out and drained her accounts and was going to move them to another account. And ultimately, that money is now gone. Remember, your real bank never going to ask you to transfer funds or share details over the phone. If you call a bank, they're going to ask you, last four, your social security number, what branch you opened it at. And they're going to ask you for your mother's maiden name and other security questions before they'll even move forward to answer a simple question. And they're not going to reach out to you unless it's through your fraud department. The romance scam. I had a friend that got caught up in this. They find you online. A lot of times it's a widow or a widower. They see the obituary in the paper. They start researching you, checking you online, checking your Facebook, checking any other social platforms. And then they reach out and give you a call. And they start talking. I understand. I lost someone myself. They play upon your sympathies. They start sending you text messages, making you feel cared for and loved, and filling that empty hole that you have from the loss of your spouse or your partner. And then all of a sudden, after months of coddling you and getting you to fall in love with them, now they've got some excuse that they urgently need money. They're overseas a lot of times, and they're asking for you to wire money or send crypto. They'll say that they're stuck overseas or they've got a medical emergency. Can you please send me some money? And it starts out small, $100. Okay, I'm going to transfer $100 over to them. And then it gets larger and over again. And they tell you, don't tell your family. They're going to get mad. But I promise you, as soon as I'm back in the United States or as soon as I'm better, I'm going to pay you back. My money's, I don't have access to my money right now. The red flag is usually just the urgency and secrecy. And the safest thing to do is to talk to your family, let them know what's going on, and help them to report this and stop this person from contacting you. As we saw in the video, the virus pop-up, this is a highly common scam that happens. And there's a movie that called The Beekeeper, where a woman had exactly this thing happen with her. And what happens is that you're sitting at your computer and you get a red glaring box that says your computer is infected with a virus. Call this number immediately. And then you call the number, they get remote access into your computer. And the next thing you know, you're starting to give out personal information. It's all happening super, super fast. They're coming at you quickly. We can't have time to process. We're just thinking that we're going to lose all access to our computer because we have a virus. So we give the information. What you should do is shut your computer down and call somebody and talk to them. Call Microsoft, call Apple. Make sure that it's legit. And if it's not legit, at least call the authorities and make a report to the police about this. The Amazon, what happened to my, okay. Who doesn't like the idea of winning something? They call you up and they say, oh my gosh, you won a $500 gift card and a trip to Hawaii. Woohoo, sign me up, right? But all of a sudden, you got to pay a processing fee. That's the giveaway. Anything that you win does not require you to pay any kind of a fee in order to claim the prize. And a lot of folks will fall prey to this. And I mean, raffles, if you're in a raffle, that's fine. They'll call you up and say you won. But if you didn't enter this raffle or this sweepstake and you won, then this is definitely a scam. And the rule of thumb, if it sounds too good to be true, it is. And just to move on and report it. If they've called you or emailed you or sent you a letter, keep that information. Call the police and make a report. And maybe they can dig back and find the scammer and shut them down. Oh, business impersonator. This happens a lot because we all shop online. Christmas is coming up. This is the biggest moneymaker of the year for these criminals. So you're going to get messages from companies that we use every day, Amazon, Apple, PayPal, you name it. And they're going to say there's been some suspicious activity or a large purchase you did not make. They want you to panic and click on the link and share your information with them. That's the red flag. What you should do is don't react quickly. Instead, go to Amazon, go to PayPal, go to whoever they say that they are in the email, the text, or online, and log into your account. Call the number of her customer service and ask them if there's a problem with your account, because 100% of the time it is a scammer trying to get you to click a link, expose your security information, and then clean you out. This doesn't happen a lot in Maine, but it's something to be aware of, is that you've got the fake contractor who just got to randomly show up in your driveway or at your doorstep. Sometimes after a disaster, a wildfire, a flood, or something that, FEMA is out helping people, and we've got contractors coming to help clean up the storm damage. You might have a contractor that shows up and says, yep, I'm helping with the effort, and I can do this job for you for half of what the rest of the contractors are. All I need you to do is pay me up front. There's your red flag. 1, contractors don't ask for full amount. 2, you always ask for an estimate of the cost and what the labor's going to cost. And yes, you might give 1/3 to 1/2 up front for supplies. But these folks are going to take your money and they're going to disappear into thin air, and the work is never going to get done. Always ask for licenses or an ID, and get everything in writing. And if you're not sure, get a second opinion from a friend, a family member, or even a neighbor who might be working with the same type of situation. Real professionals understand when you take your time to check them out. They're not going to get angry with you. The stolen check. As you saw in the video, the lady had sent in her heating check, and when she got the phone call from her heating company, finding out that the check was cashed but not to them, there is what's called a check washing system. Criminals can steal mail out of the mailboxes, and they can wash your check and clear out the name of the person you wrote it to and the amount. And then they can put in whoever they are and the amount that they want to cash it for, and they'll cash it through your bank. Banks have advised that the best way to thwart that effort is to use a gel pen, because gel pens are harder to wash the ink off the checks. And they also recommend that if you are mailing checks, to bring them right directly to the post office and inside the post office where it's secure, as opposed to the blue box outside the Shaw's or the Hannaford. You're less likely to have someone steal mail out of the post office than you are in a random box that's not supervised. And also call your bank. If you find out that you check your bank statement and you find out that you see a check that you wrote, but it's not to the person and the amount, call your bank right away. They may be something they can do. They can report it to the authorities and help you to recoup the money and get that back into your bank account. The IRS emails, or the Medicare emails, or the phone calls. A lot of times we have criminals that will send you an email saying that they're from the IRS and that you owe money, or that and there's an urgent action immediately required. Social Security sometimes you'll get an email from Social Security. The trick is here, people, is that IRS and Medicare do not have time to send emails or texts. They're going to send you a letter, and they're going to verify all of your information. And if you ever have a question about a Medicare rep calling or an IRS agent calling you or sending you an email, go online, look up their phone number for customer service, and talk to somebody there. If anything, it's going to be a scam, and they can at least make record of it and put it on file that these folks are out there trying to target you. Hold on to your texts, your emails, and any letters you get in the mail. Those are all your evidence and a way to stop these folks from doing these things to you. How many here have grandchildren? We'd do anything for our grandchildren, wouldn't we? We would keep a secret from mom and dad. We get a late night phone call. Grandson, grandma, I'm in jail. I got stopped for OUI. I got a lawyer representing me, but I need bail money to get out. Please don't tell mom and dad. They're going to kill me. What are we going to do? We're going to whip out our debit card and we're going to pay our grandson's bail money, right? This is what they're counting on. They're counting on you to react out of urgency, out of love for our grandchild, and they're hoping that you're going to give them your debit card so that they can steal from you. And once they've got it, they're not going to just steal once. They're going to steal for as many times until you figure out that you're being scammed. So always just stop. Take a break. When it's urgent and they're coming at you fast and they're talking fast and they're telling you not to tell anyone what's going on, those are your red flags. Hang up the phone, call the grandchild, call mom and dad, and say, is my grandson okay? I just got a phone call saying he's in jail. And they're going to verify that the grandson is indeed okay and not in trouble. And that's where you would hang up and call the police and make a report. The police are now taking these seriously, these scam calls more seriously, and they are making reports of them because they are seeing the impact it's making on our communities. The funeral scam, this really makes me angry. You've suffered a loss of a family member. Someone sees it in the newspaper, in the obituaries, and next thing you know, they're reaching out to you. And they're trying to tell you that your loved one owed money. Or pretending to be the funeral home that now says that you need to pay the funeral costs immediately. So they're preying on your grieving process and the urgency of having to pay these bills right away. I need to move over. So they're going to take care of you, take advantage of you at your most vulnerable point. And that's why it makes me so angry that they would do something like this, because when we are in the grieving process, we're not sometimes thinking straight. We're not thinking clearly. We want to take care of things, but we're also in the grieving process. And they know this, and they're going to target you. And they do a lot of research. They might look at your Facebook page and go back to see who some of your friends are, who your connections are, and figure out how to whittle their way in. Well, I was talking to your cousin Mary. Well, you've got a cousin Mary, and she was saying that mom owed this kind of money, and if we don't pay it, they're going to take the house. So they do the research, they make the phone call, and the next thing you know, they're taking your money. So always just stop. Verify at the funeral home, call the bank, call the creditor that they're saying that they're from, and verify the information before you give out any sensitive information, especially for a loved one that's passed away. I get these all the time now that my husband's eligible for Medicare. They call my cell phone. They don't like it when they get me. But anyways, they'll call you, and they're going to say that they're from Medicare. And this is especially dangerous for seniors because Medicare is very important. If we don't have Medicare, we don't have health coverage. How are we going to see our doctors, get our medications, and that sort of thing? So they'll call you up and they'll ask to confirm your number. What you need to know is Medicare will not call you. They will send you a letter. They will never, ever ask you for your Medicare card number over the phone. That's highly sensitive information. What you should do is whatever avenue you've gotten the information, the communication from the Medicare fraud, you want to hang up, call the number on the back of your Medicare card, and make sure that everything's kosher with your Medicare, and then report to that agent that you just had somebody call you and asking for your Medicare number. And if you did give your Medicare number out by accident before you got to think about it for a little bit, let them know that you've given that out so that they can put an alert on your account and make sure that nobody's coming in to wrongfully use that Medicare card for anything other than your benefit. Online shopping scams. Christmas is coming, right? Got to be careful of that Facebook and those ads that are on Facebook right now. You know, you click on those and they got all these wonderful ways of taking care of your pet or losing weight or realigning your chi or the greatest cheese grinder that's ever been made. And you go online, you click the ad. Everything looks really cool. There's pictures, there's graphics, there's videos, there's somebody actually unboxing the item. So you go ahead and you get your credit card out, you order the item never shows up. They're sending you emails saying your item is on its way, your item's been delivered, but the item doesn't show up. What you want to do when you're online shopping is when you're going to check out an item and you're going to use your credit card or your debit card to make payment, you want to look up in the upper part where the website address is, and a lot of times it'll say HTTP with a colon and a slash and a slash. That's not a secure website. What you want to look for is HTTPS, and that means it's secure. When you get to the payment checkout area, there's often a blue badge or a yellow badge that says secure payment. But still look for the S up in the website address. Because if it doesn't have the S, if it doesn't guarantee that it's a secure payment platform, then most likely you are opening yourself up to a criminal waiting for you to put your information in to the computer and then start taking money out of your bank account or off your credit card. And if that happens to you, you want to go ahead and make a call to your credit card or to your bank and report that immediately. A lot of times they don't catch small dollar amounts, and they do start small. They might start at $10, and if you don't say anything and you don't report them and you don't cut them off, they'll go up to 80, and then they'll go up to 180. So as soon as you see something that doesn't look right on your bank account or on your credit card, you call them up and report the fraud, and they'll help you get it reversed. I often like to say that using PayPal is a good avenue because PayPal has good protection, but I'm finding that PayPal is being duplicated by others. And so always just look for the S in the website address and look for either the yellow banner or the blue banner that says secure payment. Right, so all websites for the World Wide Web is like HTTPS, and then a colon, and the backslash, and then it'll go www.amazon.com. okay? So as you're checking out, you're gonna wanna look, when you first go into Amazon, it's not gonna be secure. But when you go to your cart to make the payment, you wanna look for that S, or something that guarantees that you making a payment right now is secure. A lot of times, these will come to you through an email. You'll see, like, again, Facebook is the biggest culprit out there. I ordered a cheese grater that I never got. Fortunately, I got my money back, but, you know, that was a lesson learned for me. So, I mean, even myself am getting up to speed on all of this stuff. Be careful, okay? This is the modern day bank robbery. You're no longer, somebody coming up behind you and grabbing your purse anymore. They're looking for you to grab your purse and enter your personal information online so that they can steal from you. Yes?
If there's a service like your electric, CMP or some, one of your services, and they wanted your credit card number so they could get automatic payments, are they being secure about having your credit card number?
If you're entering it through their actual site and you're doing the auto pay,
And it's a one-time, and then they continue doing it every month when you get the
yes,
card?
absolutely. That, as long as it's been set up through their actual site. So you would go to ecmp.co and you would log into your account using your ID and your password, and then you would go in there to the payment section and do the auto pay. Yes, that would be secure.
Those kinds of things are secure.
Yes, they are, yes. But I do always recommend, because I mean, maybe a scammer can figure out how to start intervening on these auto pays, but always check. You'll get an email from CMP saying, your bill's due. And then your auto payment went through successfully. So you're gonna be looking, there's a checks and a balance between all of these folks, is that they're confirming that your bill's coming up for auto pay, and then they'll send you another email saying it was successfully paid, okay? But yeah, I always, as a rule of thumb, always check my online banking and my credit cards to make sure my payments did go through to the appropriate person. Because I've become very skeptical now because I don't know when the next person is going to try to steal from me. And I think a lot of folks don't have online banking, or they don't think about it. We come from a very trusting generation. You know, when we gave a handshake to somebody, that meant that we had a contract. When we were paying our bills, we weren't thinking about people stealing from us. You know, if they wanted to steal money, they went into the bank with a gun and a face mask and a note, and they walked out with a bag of cash. You know, so this is modern day thievery, and these guys are criminals, and they're good. Okay, this one here, I had to do a little giggle. I'm a HUD certified housing counselor. I do reverse mortgage counseling to help folks not get caught up in reverse mortgage scams and predatory lending. So I thought that was funny when that came up on my research to talk about it. But this one, like I said, was going to hit home, quite literally. And there are scammers out there that will tell you that they can get you a reverse mortgage, get you tapped into your equity with no fees, no risk. And the fine print is often hidden. Tom Selleck will stand on TV and tell you all about reverse mortgages, won't he? Have you seen Tom Selleck on TV? You got Tom Selleck, you got William Shatner, and in my era, now we got Henry Winkler. They prey in all the heartthrobs from our generations. And they will tell you that reverse mortgages are good, they're safe, call this number. But the fine print does not often tell you about the huge costs that are associated, the risks that are associated with a reverse mortgage, and sometimes there's unfair terms. It may not be an actual HUD certified home equity conversion mortgage, and that's why they have a HUD housing counselor who is certified to be able to present these counseling sessions, and they're mandatory to go through in order to get a reverse mortgage. So if anybody cold calls you and talks to you about a reverse mortgage, first of all, if you weren't shopping for a reverse mortgage, that's your first red flag. If they start talking about how wonderful the program is and it's low fees and no closing costs or anything that sounds too good to be true, then it is. And if you are thinking about a reverse mortgage, hang up the phone, block this person's phone number, and look online to find a HUD counseling agency, and call them and ask them about a reverse mortgage. There are HUD counseling agencies all over the U.S., including ours at Coastal Enterprises. So if you ever have questions about a reverse mortgage, instead of reaching out online to ask those questions, you're better off to reach out to HUD Counseling, because once you enter information to one of these online websites, they're going to hound you by email and text and phone calls until you find a way to block them.
What does HUD represent?
Housing and Urban Development. You're welcome. Okay. Great questions, everyone. I appreciate that. Now we got the robocalls. I was talking to someone earlier that has a friend who was getting 1 million robocalls a day, and it was driving them crazy. We all get robocalls trying to sell you car insurance, car warranties, Medicare scams. Lord knows what else they've got out there, because half the time I don't even answer them. Robocalls will call you, and they will try to convince you to buy their product. These are scams 90% of the time. And they're offering you fake warranties, fake threats, fake prizes. The easiest way to avoid them is, if you don't recognize the number, just let it go to voicemail. If it's important, they're going to leave a message. If you don't know how to do this, you could use one of your grandchildren, because they're wonderful at technology, or go to your cell phone carrier or your phone carrier and ask them how to set up a robo-block on your phone. And any number that is not in your address book or you don't recognize will automatically go away, and they'll stop calling you. You could block a number, and these criminals are really creative. They will find another number to call you on. And sometimes those numbers come up as your next door neighbor, or as your friend, or at your house number. Yes, I mean, I've had Wiscasset Ford call me. I do business with Wiscasset Ford, but it wasn't Wiscasset Ford, it was a robocall. So, best rule of thumb, set up a roboblock. Make them have to, if it's an automated call, make them have to press 1 or announce who you are. Google has something where you have to talk, you have to say who you are and why you're calling before that particular person will pick up and take the call. Magic Jack has a robo-blocker where you have to say your name and press pound, and then it comes through to me. They have to wait to listen to see who's calling, and if I want to take that call, I press 1, and the call comes through. There are a lot of ways to block these calls, and this is one of the main ways that they try to get at us, and they'll just keep harassing you. It's like a bill collector. Once you're 5 seconds past due on a payment, they're blowing up your phone. These robocallers, that's what they're doing. They're expecting you to just get so annoyed that you're going to pick up the phone, and you're going to listen to their sales pitch or their fake threat or fake emergency that they've got. So check into a robo-blocker or something that will block them. And like I said, I use my grandchildren all the time to help me with technical stuff that I can't figure out, because they seem to be the experts these days. We get the email attachment. We get an email. I get an email from a friend, and there's an attachment, and it says something about, oh, look at these pictures I found. I'm looking at it. The email kind of looks legit, but I wasn't expecting an attachment. My friend hardly ever sends me attachments. Usually we communicate through Facebook or in person. So I have to look at it for a little bit. If there's an email attachment or a link inside of an email, most likely it's got malware attached to it. If you weren't expecting it from your friend, you can always call the friend and say, hey, I got an email from you, and you sent an attachment. And they'll be like, ah. They always stop and double check. If someone doesn't regularly send you emails with links or attachments, or you knew that your friend was at a party and she took pictures, and you said, hey, email me those, send me those pics, and the next day you get an email with pics from that party, then you were expecting that. But if you get this email and you weren't expecting it, a lot of us don't communicate unless we're in a business or a group. A lot of us don't communicate through email. A lot of it's through Messenger or texting these days. So always be suspicious of an email attachment or even a blue link that says, hey, click here. Double check on that. Take your time making sure that you check to make sure it's legit, because it is almost always some sort of a virus or malware that will get into your computer, and you'll have to go get a professional to help you get out of that malware.
So you can't get, if you get the malware, you can't figure out.
It's like having a mouse. Once you've got one, you've got 20, and it's hard to get rid of them.
Your virus protection wouldn't help?
Virus protection will help, but if you've got the malware already on the computer, you're going to have to take it to a computer specialist to have them go in and wipe it clean. And then they can recommend a good malware protection that you can put on your machine.
You can use Malwarebytes.
I'm not familiar with the malware products, and I would always look to a professional to tell me which one is the best, because you don't want to overprotect yourself and spend a ton of money on protection. You want to have somebody that's in the market that knows about malware and how to protect you against that malware and any other viruses that could come through. Okay? Always trust a professional. A friend might be able to say, oh, well, I use Norton or McAfee. Those are the two that have been around for a while. But you don't know, if they are still good protection. And then you want to check on the cost as well. Because it does come at a cost. It's not free. Okay? Any other questions?
And you have to keep it up to date too, like, because it's always going up, improving itself.
Yeah, right. Well, if you've got a professionally installed malware protection and you're paying for it, they should be doing the automatic updates for you. And you'll get alerts saying that you're being updated. A lot of times your cell phone will, tell you that you need to restart your phone. And that's for them to update the operating system and to update any protections for viruses and malware. So that's the service that you're paying for. So you shouldn't have to be policing your malware software, but always being aware of what you have and what you're paying for. But your company should actually be taking care of that if you're paying them for that. Okay? What's that? IDEX, yeah, I have. I'm not aware of their product and I don't use it, so I can't speak to it. But always do research. And even if you're, shop around. There's several tech businesses in the Mid-Coast area, and you could always call them and just ask them, say, hey, what's the best protection? Will you take a look at my computer? What do you recommend for me, and what type of things I do? Because it could be based on the sensitivity. I work from home. I am protected by CEI servers, but still in all, I am still working from my home router. So I have to have certain protections because I'm working with sensitive information. Now you guys, if you're just doing your banking and your credit card payments online, and you're emailing and texting and messaging your friends and family, you might need a lesser of a package to protect yourself. And always, if there's anything pops up on that screen of yours that tells you that there's a problem, always call your virus protection, your tech service, or Microsoft or Apple to find out if there is actually an issue before you click on any links, okay? Anything popping up on your computer is usually unwanted. It's kind of like having, somebody showing up trying to sell you pest control or sell you a newspaper or something like that. Just always be cautious when something like that comes to you that you did not ask for, okay? So, scams aren't just about money, they're about trust. And often the red flags are urgency, request for money, unsolicited help offer, and emotional tension. As we age, our cognitive memory and our cognitive brain slows down. If you'll notice, when your grandchild walks in the house and they're all excited, you get every other word. You can't process why they're excited. When we talk to each other, we talk slowly, we enunciate, and we try to get our message across. The scammers know this, and so they come at you. They're in your face. There's urgency, request for money, unsolicited offer for help, and then they prey on your emotions. The scams aren't just about money, they're about trust, and everybody in this room deserves to feel safe and confident managing their affairs online. And by sharing what we know, we not only protect ourselves, but also our friends, our family, and our neighbors. And if you ever think you've been scammed, please don't be embarrassed. Don't feel ashamed. This is a crime. These are criminals. We use the word scam, but they're criminals, all right? And they've preyed upon you. Report it, talk about it, and reach out for help. Make sure that you don't sit and think, oh my God, I can't tell anybody, I'm so embarrassed. Tell people, because the more you talk about it, the more you could shut these guys down. You might talk to a neighbor and say, oh my God, you're not gonna believe what happened to me. And they'll be like, oh, that happened to me too. And you could sit and have a conversation about it. You can start talking about it, make each other feel better, sort of, and make sure you're reporting it to the authorities. Here's some places where you can get some help. In the fancy little toolkit that I developed starting on page 25, it tells you if your bank account or credit card got compromised, call your bank or your credit card. On the back of the card, there's a number. If you paid with cryptocurrency and wire transfers cannot be traced, and this is the criminal's most favorite way of getting your money. They will ask you to convert the dollars into cryptocurrency or send it by wire. But there are places that you can call to report the transfer if you've been scammed. If you paid with credit cards on page 26, the most common credit cards are listed here, and it's got a phone number and a website for you to go. Okay, gift cards, what they do is they ask you to go pick up a gift card. They're going to give you something, but you got to go get an Apple gift card. And then once you purchase that, and you can only spend at Walgreens and CVS, $500 is their limit on their gift cards, okay? So you have to buy several gift cards. You're scratching off the back of the gift cards with the little code, and you're giving it to the person that's on the text or on the phone with you, and they're going to take that information and be able to steal that $500 off that card. The gift cards are now aware of this. They have phone numbers on the back of them. You can call them, let them know you've been scammed, and in most cases, if that card has not already been used, they can deactivate that card and get you your $500 back. These are the common cards listed on page 26 and how to get a hold of them. And the sooner you better do it, the better, because these guys are probably going to try to cash in that money as quickly as possible before you get smart enough to report it. Call the police and make a report there as well. If you think you've had identity theft or you had credit card fraud, the credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, their numbers are all here. The websites are here. You can freeze your accounts, but you can also alert them that you've had some fraud, and they can be more vigilant, looking at any new trade lines opened up on your credit, or your credit cards could be more vigilant on looking for any unusual transactions, because they know what you normally spend it on. You know, I got dogs, so there's Chewy, and then I might be buying electronics for the grandchildren, you know, and I like shoes. Oh, and I love pans. So they'll see a trend, and then all of a sudden, there's this off-ball item that Michelle just ordered, and they're contacting me going, this is out of the ordinary. Is this okay? They know your trends. So if you put them on alert, they're going to be watching for you. You can freeze your credit so that nobody can make any purchases, and you have to unfreeze your credit if you want to use that. But that's a good way of putting a damper on some fraudulent activities and letting them know, because they're just as anxious to protect your credit and your money as you are. And then reporting the scams to the authorities. The Federal Trade Commission, the 800 number, and a report fraud at ftc.gov spot. You can report it online or you can call them. They'll help you report it. We've got the AARP Fraud Watch Helpline. That's free for everyone. You don't have to be an AARP member. And if you live in Maine, Maine Attorney General and your local police and sheriff's department. When calling the local police and sheriff's department, don't call 911. Call their regular admin number. And I didn't put all those numbers in because that would take up about another 100 pages, I'm sure. But look it up and call the sheriff's number. The sheriff's got a 443 number in Saginaw County. You know, your local police has a landline or a regular line for calling in non-emergencies. Call them, make the report, and at least get it documented so that further on down the line, if you do have to fight to get your money, then you've got that police report. It's kind of like when you get in an accident. You want that piece of paper that says who, what, when, and where, and how your car was damaged so that you can go to your insurance company. Same thing with fraud. Document, document, document. If you got something in text, don't delete it. If you got an email, don't delete it. If you got a piece of mail through the post office, don't throw it out. Hold on to that until the issue has been resolved. So use that toolkit. Thank you for coming today. I believe that now we have several more people in the fight to stop scammers. And I want you to share this with your friends. We're going to have the toolkit, a copy of today's workshop, and the video that you saw on the CEI website, and the Curtis Memorial Library will also have the video from today's workshop on their website. And I want to thank John from Curtis Library for all of his assistance and for collaborating with us today to bring this workshop to all you folks.